At the end of the battle against House Wolfford, Lord Silvio of Tellior leaves the field defeated. The victors, however, do not go by unscathed, repeated battles taking their toll on the soldiers. All goes according to Gustadolf's plan to weaken both houses. Landroy Falks, Lord of the Third of Glenbrook's High Houses, faces off against General of Laura.
Eh bien bonjour à tous, on se retrouve aujourd'hui sur Triangle Stratégie, donc on reprend notre histoire principale par rapport à la précédente vidéo. Je n'ai rien fait, je n'ai pas farmé, je n'ai rien fait du tout. Donc on reprend exactement là où on s'était laissé. Donc on va aller voir la petite histoire annexe pour savoir ce qui se passe avec Silvio.
I must survive. Somehow, I must survive.
Escaping all on your own, I see.
Rufus, what are you doing here?
I came to collect my reward.
Reward? Since when were losers ever rewarded?
I remember our deal differently.
As do I. I was promised an invincible executioner. You are nothing but a fraud, a sheep in wolf's clothing. What's so funny?
I have a new deal for you. Pay me what I'm owed or die.
I cannot give you what I do not possess. But if you kill me now, you will have lost to Wolfford with nothing to show for it.
Go on.
If you let me live, on the other hand, I will find the coin to pay you. What do you say?
Quel fourbe celui-là.
Fine. But if I don't get that money, consider your life forfeit.
Far too much blood has been spilled.
I know how loyal you were to the late King Regna. We may be enemies, but you still have my respect. I would invite you to join our ranks.
You would dishonor me so.
I prefer it to your death.
Save your pity for someone who needs it. Your master will never have our loyalty, even if it means the end of the three high houses. Your Majesty, I serve you even in death.
His plot foiled and bested in battle by House Wolfford, Silvio Tellior flees, leaving everything behind. House Fawkes fights valiantly, but ultimately loses to General of Laura's army, and joins their late king in death. Of Glenbrook's 3 high houses, Wolffort, Tellior, and Fawkes, 2 are felled by the iron hammer of Esfrost. House Wolffort now stands alone, in more peril than ever.
So, 2 of Glenbrook's 3 high houses have fallen. Esfrost's invasion took me by surprise at first, but this is quite the interesting turn.
Now Wolffort stands alone, having lost both the crown and its allies. There is no better time for us to act.
Then let us set the trap, brimming with bait enough to lure them in and keep them there.
As you command. The famed High House of the Saltiron War will soon be under your thumb, my lord. Having control of their land will make our deliveries that much easier.
Indeed, and House End will prosper more than ever. Brute strength is not the only path to victory. A truly wise man can win without ever drawing his sword.
My lord, a bird from Sorsley End of Hyzant has arrived. He has offered to send us provisions and funds in light of our situation.
A most welcome offer, to be sure, but why would he extend a helping hand to us now? Could he be after something?
Undoubtedly. There are, regrettably, none so altruistic amongst the Saintly Seven. Seeing as Minister Sorsley has never shown much interest in other nations, I can only surmise this is a ploy to put House Wolffort in his debt.
As I suspected. But our people and soldiers need all the help they can get. Let us accept his proposal. We can deal with whatever ulterior motives he may have once we are back on our feet.
Understood. We shall discuss our countermeasures at another time.
Congratulations on your victory in the Fawkes domain, General.
Thank you, sir. They were proud warriors. And Lord Landroy a formidable foe, despite his age.
I imagine he was content to breathe his last on his beloved fields. 30 years have passed since the Saltiron War. It was time he was put to rest beside that bygone era. Of Laura, it is time you had a rest as well.
What do you mean by that, Your Grace?
Your soldiers have fought long and hard. Any longer and their morale may suffer for it.
But what of House Wolffort? Prince Roland is still with them. Is that not cause for concern?
There are no lords left worth worrying about. House Wolffort stands alone after Roland's uprising.
Even so, we would do well not to underestimate them. Even standing alone, they once changed the course of the Saltiron War.
House Wolffort is no longer the hunter, but the hunted. Or do you believe you understand something that I do not, General?
No. Forgive me, Your Grace.
Je sais pas pourquoi, je pense pas qu'elle va rester tout le temps avec eux. Elle va changer au bout d'un moment. On verra bien la suite du jeu. Mais ouais. Là c'est bon.
You wish to speak to me, Your Highness?
I wish to leave the Wolfort domain.
And you want me to persuade Lord Serenoa?
Yes. Though I doubt he will welcome the conversation after the scales have spoken. But the people are tired. Their expressions grim. And this castle is no different.
Even so, the decision was made together.
Yes. But I think we all know that I am at the source of our troubles. The responsibility ultimately falls to me.
If you truly wish to take responsibility, then I do have an idea.
And I would hear it.
Give me that ring.
But this is proof that I belong to the royal family. What would you do with it?
Have you die for your people.
Hey, boss! Come take a look at this!
The poor soul. Or maybe not so poor, judging by these clothes.
Hey, Pa! Remember what I said about that reward money?
Of course I do. This might just be him.
Pa, take a look at this!
Shiny ring, huh? Is that, the royal emblem? This has got to be Prince Roland!
Ça va calmer le jeu un peu comme ça. Avant qu'il est mort.
The corpse is regrettably too damaged to identify, but the royal signet is unmistakable. Aside from Cordelia, there is only one who would wear the royal family's ring. There can be no doubt. This is Prince Roland.
Excuse me, Your Grace, but about that reward.
Thalas, give them their coin.
Yes, brother.
Thank you kindly for your generosity, Your Grace.
What a waste. Is this truly how the kingdom of Glenbrook meets its end?
House Wolfort are no fools. Their friend was only a liability. They have spared themselves by forsaking the prince. They may have escaped, but there are none who would help them. There is no reason for us to concern ourselves with House Wolfort any longer.
A shame.
Your poor brother, betrayed by his most trusted friend.
Oh, Roland.
the news of Prince Roland's death spreads across the land like wildfire. With his demise, seemingly comes the end of the Kingdom of Glenbrook. But only days later, a proclamation is made that would bind Esfrost and Glenbrook. Bearer of the royal signet and last heir to the throne of Glenbrook, Cordelia is to ascend as queen and wed Archduke Gustadolf.
Eh bien, eh bien.
Princess Cordelia is to wed the Archduke? What is the meaning of this? Gustadolf is the very one who invaded Glenbrook.
But King Regna is to blame for trying to monopolize the mines.
What does it matter who the princess weds as long as Glenbrook lives on?
It damn well matters to me.
My people, our days of late have been dark and filled with strife. Both Glenbrook and Esfrost have suffered countless losses, and we have lost both of our beloved princes. For that, I offer you my deepest condolences. May they all rest in peace. As you all know, my father was sentenced to death for his role in this tragic event. But how do we come to grips with our sorrow and anger? How do we atone for our mistakes?
Esfrost does not deserve your forgiveness! Do not submit to Gustadolf's will!
Let us recognize our sins as such and move forward. Archduke Gustadolf has magnanimously given us another chance. A chance to see Glenbrook to a fair and free future. As the queen of this kingdom, I, Cordelia of House Glenbrook, do hereby accept the warmth and governance of Esfrost, and swear to do everything in my power to usher in an age of peace with the Archduke.
With all due respect, sir, I do not believe Queen Cordelia to be fit for ruling Glenbrook.
She does not need to be. She is to be our figurehead, a place for the people to focus both their hope and discontent. And while the poor people of Glenbrook stumble in the dark, we shall establish a new government, one based in freedom. Once the people have had a taste of true freedom Esfrost would offer them, there will be no turning back. By the time Cordelia births an heir, both this kingdom and its people will belong solely to Esfrost.
I would be loath to stand upon a political battlefield. It is far more heartless than those of war.
I am simply breathing new life into a kingdom of tired traditions. The people will thank me for it in time.
Father, my brothers, I swear to avenge you.
Voilà. La forge vous permet d'améliorer les armes de vos unités et de leur attribuer des compétences d'armes. On aura besoin de matériaux. Ok. Est-ce qu'il faut améliorer une ligne ou est-ce qu'on peut prendre une autre épée? En épée, épée en argent. D'accord, donc c'est ligne par ligne et après ça débloque en dessous. C'est plus tard. Il faudra bien que je fasse attention à qui je vais faire get. Quand même assez fort, tu get. Bon, il va falloir qu'on aille récolter tout doucement. Celui on pourra le acheter. Ouais, donc je regarderai ça tranquillement en off. Voilà, c'est cool.
I would not be here without my allies.
Il y en a pas mal qui peuvent évoluer, mais on n'aura pas assez de médailles. Doute, je vais rester comme ça. Je ferai ça tranquillement, à tête reposée, pour pas faire de bêtises et aller trop vite.
Prince Roland, have you heard about the address at the capital?
I have.
I won't forgive them for making Her Highness say such horrible things.
Enough, Hewitt.
But they lied about the king's death. They made it seem like Gustadolf was justified.
Say no more. If Cordelia can endure this, so can we. And as long as she lives, that is enough for me.
Forgive me, Your Highness.
We all understand how you feel, Prince Roland.
No, I apologize. I lost control. Thinking about it will do us no good. We must rise to action.
Indeed we must. Everyone knows of your death now. That means we are free to make our next move.
Listen, my friends. Prince Roland of Glenbrook is dead. I am now merely Roland, a warrior who fled a fallen kingdom. I humbly ask for your support until the sun shines upon our royal line once again.
Is that Sir Maxwell's?
That mask. You look just like Sir Maxwell.
This is a secret that shall stay within House Wolford.
Master, grant me the strength to free our home from Frost's clutches.
Bon, au moins, elle est protégée comme ça, on va dire.
How is he doing?
Better than before. He groans in pain from time to time, though.
I see. I wish I could tell Father about our situation now, but...
Lord Serenoa, if your father were awake, I am certain he would praise you for safeguarding Wolford.
Sad to say, the real trouble is only just beginning. I'll be damned if House N's protection comes for free. No doubt the longer we stay, the steeper the price.
Precisely. Minister Sorsley is not an altruistic soul.
If you were in his shoes, what would you do?
I would squeeze us dry, then look for an opportunity to.
But we won't let that happen.
Of course not. Anna is already on the move. It is our duty to protect and guide this house.
This heart ain't changed since the day Lord Simon took me in, lad. I'm ready to put my life on the line for this house. We'll get past this, one way or another. You'll see.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Lord Svarog, the body of Lord Dragan is...
So my son has finally returned home. I will be there soon. Is something the matter?
I think it better not to look, my lord.
And why is that?
His face. There is no vestige of the handsome lad he once was.
Oh, my son. I understand. You are dismissed. I am so sorry, my boy. Please forgive your pitiful excuse for a father. I will find the one who did this to you. I swear it.
I see. So there is an illicit salt trade held outside the auspices of the Norzelia Consortium.
In this business, you cannot avoid rumors even if you try. They say sneaking under the Consortium's nose is well worth the risk, but I am not so bold.
And who is behind all this?
I wish I could say.
I am not asking you to tell me for free.
How generous of you. It's but a rumor, of course, but... They say none other than Minister End in Hyzant is pulling the strings. And some free advice for you, my friend? You'd do well not to get involved.
Why?
I'm afraid that will cost a separate fee. Why, thank you.
Water!
On your feet!
Water, please!
Get back to work! You aren't the only one who's thirsty!
No setbacks, I presume?
None, sir. We are already well ahead of schedule.
Splendid. The ledger, if you would.
Yes, sir.
I would hate for there to be a problem with our numbers. I will hold on to this for now.
Of course, sir.
Water!
Put the poor thing out of its misery, Booker. You must be firm with the Roselle. Show them the slightest mercy, and they'll think they deserve more.
Yes, sir!
Les salauds. Pas vraiment cool. Hein. Mais bon, ils vont le payer.
Serenoa, do you have a moment? I was hoping to talk to you about our marriage. Now that Glenbrook has been brought to ruin by Esfrost, is there any meaning to our union? My brother may have been planning this from the start. And yet I came to Wolffort with the intent of marrying you, completely unaware of it. It's always like this. Nothing ever goes as I would wish it. The course of my life has always been at the mercy of others.
As has mine. Almost nothing happens the way I thought it would.
But you have a home. Somewhere you can return to someday. You are surrounded by people who care about you.
As do you, as a member of House Wolfort. Your place is with us now.
Serenoa.
And though this may sound pretentious, this is a time for you to think about your future and what you must do, Frederica. Just as I am.
I suppose you are right. What must I do?
Here you are. Master Benedict has been searching for you both.
Understood. Let him know we will return at once. You said we received a delivery from Minister Sorsley.
Yes, mostly food and materials, plus a considerable amount of coin.
That is quite kind of him.
House End is a wealthy one, even by Hyzant's standards. This would barely put a dent in their coffers. We have distributed the resources as needed. We've even managed to restock our reserves.
Wish I could be happy for the help, but I can't say I am.
Agreed. Relying on them comes at a price. They will be looking for recompense.
I believe that to be their true aim.
But this is the path we chose to walk together.
Indeed. And as long as we stay the course, the winds of favor will someday be at our backs.
A missive from Minister Sorsley has arrived.
I see he wastes no time. What absurd request could he possibly have in store for us?
Nothing good, that's for sure.
Ah, on va devoir réaliser un petit choix. Savoir la suite de l'histoire.
Yet another problem has arisen, as we anticipated. I would like to ask everyone what they think. Benedict, if you would.
Yes, my lord. We have just received a request from Minister Sorsley. We are to deliver his cargo to Aesfrost.
Cargo?
A load of salt that bypasses the consortium.
He is asking us to be an accomplice to his illegal dealings.
The nerve of him! Asking the Honorable House Wolfort to do such a filthy job. No way we'd agree to that.
But consider this. Agreeing would secure us proof of his unlawful business.
Are you suggesting we report him to Hyzant?
I am saying it is an option.
You got a point. We have a duty to speak up when something's not right. That's the honor...
We might even earn the Holy One's trust.
Have you all forgotten? Minister Sorsley is one of Hyzant's Saintly Seven. His connections run far deeper than ours. We must tread carefully.
Then we need solid evidence to convict him. I should think the salt he wishes us to transport would suffice. But we are the only ones that know it. And it is indistinguishable from the salt that is legally distributed. Far from the solid evidence we need.
Regrettably so.
One false move and we lose both Minister Sorsley's support and Hyzant's trust. Without proof, we have no choice but to go to Aesfrost.
If only we had evidence of his misdeeds.
It comes as no surprise to see our opinions differ. But a decision must be made. To report Minister Sorsley's illegal dealings to Hyzant, or become a silent accomplice. Bring the scales. It is time to make our choice.
Alors, quel choix on va faire? Est-ce qu'on dénonce? J'hésite vraiment, mais bon. Essayer de convaincre les deux là.
Aye, lad.
Il veut pas m'écouter, mais qu'est-ce que je fais? Attention, si tu fais rien pour le premier run.
Aye, lad. Consider this.
We must decide.
Faut qu'on les prenne à leur propre piège.
Certainly not.
Serenoa. But in that case, I see.
Allez, on va voir si ça réussit.
It is time to cast our votes. Do we follow Sorslay's orders and smuggle salt across our borders? Or approach the scales of conviction with your token at the ready?
Forgive me, my lord.
Even still.
Il faut juste un avec nous. Mais bon, c'est pas évident.
Just can't see it your way.
Je pense qu'ils ont dit non.
The scales of conviction will illuminate the path we've chosen.
Ah, ça n'a pas réussi. Écoutez, on va les dénoncer, hein, c'est pas
The
grave.
way
De toute façon.
forward is decided. We march to Hyzant and expose the minister's illicit.
On se plie à la balance, et puis c'est tout, hein. C'est comme ça, on n'a pas le choix.
We have chosen our path. We shall head to Hyzant and alert them of Minister Sorslay's wrongdoings.
Now that we have a heading, we need only move forward. Let us make...
Indeed. No matter how perilous the road ahead may be, we must not falter.
Anna, begin the preparations.
Yes, sir.
Bon bah voilà les amis, on va s'arrêter là pour cet épisode. J'espère que ça vous aura plu. On avance tout doucement dans l'histoire, je pense qu'on est au chapitre 9, 9, 10 là. Donc je me suis un petit peu spoil, j'ai juste été voir comme d'habitude si je pouvais par rapport à la durée de vie. Donc on doit être à peu près vers la moitié du jeu déjà. Donc on est sur une dizaine d'heures de jeu déjà, donc c'est déjà cool. Et puis bah on va découvrir la suite dans le prochain épisode. Et puis bah je regarderai de mon côté moi si je peux faire des petites améliorations sur certains personnages, histoire de moins galérer dans les combats. Et puis bah je vous dis à très très vite. Puis bah comme d'habitude, hein, si vous voulez m'aider, n'hésitez pas. Abonnez-vous à la chaîne, c'est super cool. Un petit pouce bleu et pourquoi pas bah, un petit commentaire aussi si vous avez envie de poser des questions ou tout simplement parler du jeu et tout ça. Voilà, je vous remercie et je vous dis à très très vite. Allez, ciao ciao, à bientôt.